Los Angeles, 1947. The world was emerging from the ashes of the Second World War. The United States was experiencing an economic boom and a period of cultural optimism. Los Angeles, particularly Hollywood and its surrounding areas, was a magnet of opportunity, a place where hopes sprouted and dreams were sold. The city was enveloped in the bright allure of neon lights, the rhythm of jazz clubs, and the promise of screen stars. However, beneath this shimmering surface, a deep moral decay, crime, and a dark underworld were concealed. On January 15, 1947, this dark reality violently and irrevocably slammed into the city's face. This date marked the beginning of the most notorious, brutal, widely discussed, and mysterious crime in American criminology history, the Black Dahlia case. The murder is considered a milestone in modern criminal cases, not only due to the sheer horror of its execution, but also because of the nationwide media hysteria it generated, the monumental investigative failure of the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, and the fact that the case remains officially unsolved. This was more than just a murder. It was a stark symbol of the shattered dreams of thousands of young women who came to Hollywood, the lost innocence of the post-war era, and the flaws within the justice system itself. At the heart of the story was a young woman, the lost victim of the justice system, Elizabeth Short. Part 1. Elizabeth Short, caught between star dreams and reality. Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. She was one of 5 sisters. Her family life was extremely unstable due to the presumed death of her father in a car crash, which later proved false, causing a severe emotional breakdown for her mother, and constant friction with her mother. Chronic asthma during her childhood forced her to relocate to warmer climates, leading to a perpetual cycle of movement. At a young age, her dreams pulled her to the West Coast, specifically to the glamorous atmosphere of Hollywood. Short was a typical starlet aspirant. She was strikingly beautiful with blue eyes and charm, but lacked a concrete career plan. She often frequented bars and nightclubs, relying on short-term jobs or the patronage of wealthy male companions, particularly military officers, to cover her expenses. This lifestyle, by the moral standards of the time, made her vulnerable and gave her a notorious reputation. In the months leading up to her death, Short constantly relocated, staying in short-term rentals, hotels, and the homes of male acquaintances. Those around her noted her tendency to wear all black. After the discovery of her body, the press coined the nickname Black Dahlia, referencing a popular film released in 1946, The Blue Dahlia. This dramatic and melodramatic moniker played a pivotal role in the crime's transformation into an international phenomenon. Even the account of Elizabeth Short's final whereabouts remains shrouded in mystery. The most widely accepted version states that on January 9, 1947, she was seen making a phone call in the lobby of the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Who she was talking to, and where she went afterwards, these were the fundamental questions that would plague the murder investigation. Short essentially vanished into the massive crowd of Los Angeles for 6 days. Part 2, January 15, 1947, the horrific discovery and the scale of the atrocity. At approximately 10 a.m. on the morning of January 15, 1947, in the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles on South Norton Avenue, an appalling discovery was made in a grassy field between 2 empty lots. A local mother, Betty Berzinger, walking with her young daughter, initially thought the object lying on the lawn was a discarded store mannequin. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was the savagely mutilated body of a woman. The body belonged to Elizabeth Short. Her torso had been expertly severed at the waistline into 2 halves. The procedure was reminiscent of a surgical technique known as hemicorporectomy. The cuts were made with precision, targeting the spinal column. Furthermore, the body had been completely drained of blood. This indicated the murder had taken place elsewhere, most likely in a bathroom or an environment resembling an operating room. The most iconic and stomach-churning aspect of the brutality was the mutilation applied to the victim's face. Her mouth had been sliced from the corners to her ears, creating a terrifying Glasgow smile, or Chelsea grin. The body was posed deliberately and artistically at the scene, with her legs splayed and her arms raised over her head, a clear act of display or a message. Even the LAPD detectives and forensic experts who arrived on the scene admitted they had never encountered a crime so organized, cold-blooded, and sadistic. The scale of the murder rapidly spread throughout Los Angeles, igniting a collective hysteria. Part 3. the chaos of the police investigation, and media hysteria. The process that began with the discovery of Elizabeth Short's body is considered one of the biggest investigative failures in LAPD history. Crime scene management and errors. The first major blunder in the investigation was the management of the crime scene. Hundreds of curious citizens and journalists uncontrollably swarmed the area. The scene was not adequately secured, leading to the contamination or destruction of a significant amount of potential evidence, particularly tire tracks and footprints. This amateur management laid the foundation for the case's eventual unsolvability. The tyranny of the media. The newspapers of the era descended upon the case with pure greed, driven by the murder's brutality and the victim's young, alluring profile. The circulation war among the papers overshadowed the investigation itself. Every day, a new speculation, a new sensational headline was published, essentially playing into the killer's game. Even the most intimate details of Elizabeth Short's private life were published without censorship. The media was constantly pressuring not only the public, but also the detectives running the investigation. False confessions and resource exhaustion. The national notoriety of the murder created one of the biggest factors crippling the investigation, the wave of false confessions. The case became so famous that an estimated 50 to 60 individuals, and possibly hundreds according to some sources, claimed responsibility for the murder due to a desire for fame, psychological disorders, or subconscious pressure. Even women were among these confessors. The LAPD spent thousands of man-hours and resources attempting to verify and dismiss these false confessions. The real killer, meanwhile, quietly slipped away, obscured by the deluge of confusing information and public hysteria. The killer's letters. Amidst this chaos, the purported killer continued to send letters to the press and the police. These letters were often written in a mocking and provocative tone. One of the most striking incidents involved the killer sending an envelope to a newspaper containing Elizabeth Short's birth certificate, business cards, and other personal belongings, all with fingerprints carefully wiped clean with gasoline. This act indicated the killer was intelligent, calculating, and manipulative, intent on maintaining his show with the help of the press. Part 4. Suspects, Theories, and Inconclusiveness. Though decades have passed, the Black Dahlia murder continues to occupy the minds of modern criminologists, amateur sleuths, and conspiracy theorists. The surgical nature of the crime led most theories to focus on individuals with medical knowledge. 1. The Dr. George Hodel theory, the most comprehensive suspect. The theory put forth in the 2000s by former LAPD homicide detective Steve Hodel is the most comprehensive and controversial. Hodel claimed that his own father, the respected Los Angeles physician Dr. George Hodel, was the perpetrator. The main evidence and claims supporting this theory are: surgical expertise. Dr. Hodel possessed the high-level surgical knowledge required for the dismemberment and organ manipulation seen in the crime. Incriminating drawings. At Dr. Hodel's mansion, his son Steve claimed to have found drawings made by his father that seemingly depicted the Black Dahlia murder. Police surveillance tapes. Steve Hodel claimed that the LAPD had placed his father's mansion under surveillance in 1950, and recordings captured his father making suspicious statements related to the murder. Supposin, "I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now," is one alleged quote, though its direct translation remains debated. Other murders. Steve Hodel developed the theory that his father was responsible not only for Short's murder, but also possibly linked to the Zodiac Killer case in San Francisco, a claim not widely accepted, and the murders of other women who were killed with similar savagery. 2. Medical student and hospital theories. Another strong chain of suspicion centered on the possibility that the crime was committed by an individual with psychological issues working in medical schools or hospitals in Los Angeles. The complete draining of blood, the removal of internal organs, and the clean nature of the cuts strongly indicated the perpetrator had intimate knowledge of human anatomy. The investigation focused on the era's medical facilities, but yielded no results. 3. Other potential suspects. The case file included hundreds of names, such as an alcoholic and abusive former boyfriend of Elizabeth Short, the famous director Orson Welles, briefly investigated due to a visual similarity between him and a suspect sketch, and various wealthy businessmen. Yet, no concrete and undeniable evidence ever pointed to a single person. Conclusion: the eternal legacy of the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short's life began with the hope of becoming a Hollywood star, but ended with a devastating tabloid headline. Her tragedy symbolized the end of the American innocence of the 1940s and the danger lurking beneath the surface of the big cities. The Black Dahlia's killer most likely continued to roam free in the chaos of Los Angeles, and their identity will probably never be revealed. The killer stole not only Elizabeth Short's life, but also exposed the deficiencies of the American justice system and the ethical limits of the media. For more than 70 years, this case has remained on the shelf of the police archives marked unsolved. The Black Dahlia will continue to be the eternal and dark symbol of an unresolved crime, injustice, a lost dream, and the cursed allure of Hollywood.